The catch is that the Power Book 4 series finale is both the beginning and the conclusion. As the Starz drama concludes after Season 3, the Power Book 4 series finale's lack of a definitive ending is both a strength and a drawback. Spoiler alert, Power Book 4 Season 3, Episode 10 spoilers are included below. Because it isn't truly the end, the Power Book 4 series finale is titled Beginning of the End. It offers just the right amount of closure, but it also leaves some crucial story points unresolved. That will be loved by some Starz viewers and hated by others, but nobody is necessary and correct. Team Tommy and Team Jenard's last confrontation takes place in spectacular fashion, complete with a significant number of casualties and lots of threatening and firing. The situation is much simplified in the episode, which was co-written by showrunner Gary Lennon and Sarah Gambles. The Roberto Ortega issue, which had previously appeared so dire, is resolved when the Estrada and Marquez cartels decide to combine. While this simplifies the conclusion, it also gives the writers more time to concentrate on the conflict between Tommy Egan and Jenard Sampson, which is the main reason viewers are watching. But the theatrical, in-person confrontation that viewers have been longing for is not given to Tommy and Jenard. Tommy beats Jenard after they exchange gunfire when the other CBI agents finally realize that Jenard is in his own zip code because he is so far from the reservation. His retribution is gratifying. However, Jenard is still alive, and his future is similarly uncertain when Vic Flynn reappears and suggests they work together to destroy their shared foe. Shane Harper's appearance in the conclusion is fantastic, and it goes far beyond a farewell moment. The viewer may relate to Vic as he yells at Ray that he's Vic fucking Flynn. However, some viewers could be dissatisfied because there isn't a definitive period at the end of this massive conflict that painstakingly built up. Michael Rainey Jr.'s return as Tarek St. Patrick is another surprise in the finale. In a kind of deus ex machina, Tarek intervenes to save Tommy from death during the gunfight. From a critical standpoint, Lennon and Gambles should be commended for incorporating Tarek's return into the story. He's not just there to add to the excitement of Power supporters. Tommy and D-Mac are both impacted by Tarek's presence, as evidenced by their brief discussion on losing their fathers. As fans witness and hear how heartbroken D-Mac is at JP's passing, actor Lucien Cambridge emerges as the finale's quiet MVP. Viewers get the impression that he's attempting to convince himself even though he claims to have Tommy, which he does. Additionally, Power Book 4 uses Tarek to set up what is only half a finale. After winning the war for Chicago, Tommy plans to travel to Mexico to pick up his pregnant lover, Mireya Garcia. However, in the closing moments, Tarek suggests that Tommy come back to New York and join him as a business partner. Force concludes with the suggestion that Tommy is accepting Tarek's invitation. For those who have been following the Power universe, it's a neat turning point. Tommy is now working with Ghost's son after they were once at the top of the world. Additionally, since Tommy will be departing Chicago, it is technically an ending for Force. However, this decision also gives the impression that this episode is an intermediate chapter rather than the last. Technically speaking, viewers are satisfied because they are aware of nearly all of the primary characters' destinations. Under the combined cartels, Shanti, Showstopper, Paige and Miguel Garcia are now in charge of Tommy's operations. After shooting Bobby DeFranco to eliminate the federal danger to Tommy, Bill Sang became the new U.S. attorney. Kate Egan is back in New York, while Mireya is in Mexico. The only person who feels lost in the woods is D-Mac. Thus, Beginning of the End does give viewers a wealth of knowledge. There are also a good number of memorable moments, both big and small, such as Tommy telling Shanti that she reminds him of Liliana. However, there is a chance that there may have been more stunning moments and that the climax could have been a clear-cut, everyone-off-the-map finish. Beginning of the End is more subdued, especially given the stomach punches in the earlier episodes, such Diamond Sampson's passing. Force in Power Book 4 over the previous installments, it enthusiastically burned itself to the ground. This one is not at all what viewers are anticipating, another stomach punch. Every fan will experience it differently because it is finished yet not entirely finished. Some people will adore that rebellious strategy. Others won't be satisfied. Is it too late to start a Power Book 4, Force Season 4 campaign? Force in Power Book 4. Although it's obvious that Season 3 is headed toward a conclusion, it doesn't seem like Tommy's death will be that conclusion. There are rumors regarding a Tommy and Tarek spin-off, which should indicate that Tommy won't be leaving the final season in a body bag. However, you can never say never when it comes to Power. It's safe to be a little nervous about what the last hour might bring, though, as nothing has been confirmed. Power is constantly on the verge of conflict, and following the events in Power Book 4, Force Season 3 Episode 9, a full-scale Chicago war might not occur. However, many people still harbor thoughts of retaliation. Even though Tommy killed Diamond inadvertently, it will just increase Jenard's animosity, and there's no way the hour will end without them squaring off one last time. However, it's reasonable to infer that only one man survives that altercation. Who, then? Given how frequently we've witnessed Tommy elude death in the past, the thought of him passing away seems unreal. It's difficult to envision anyone in Chicago outwitting him, so if it were to happen here, it would have to be mostly due to luck. He simply doesn't make mistakes that would result in his death. I'll go one step farther and say that nobody in Chicago should be able to defeat Tommy Egan. Although Power Force has produced some excellent and memorable characters, none of them have attained the status of Ghost, Cannon, or even Tarek in terms of being deserving of competing against Tommy and emerging victorious. Jenard is currently at the top of Tommy's list of foes in Chicago, but after everything Tommy has been through, how terrible would it be for him to lose to Jenard Sampson? Jenard can perform at his best when he wants to. However, he is self-centered and frequently allows his emotions to influence business choices. Does anyone think that the current Jenard will be able to control all of Chicago, even with CBI firmly under his control? Although Vic ran away from Chicago with his tail between his legs, I wouldn't be shocked if the lone surviving Flynn returned to confront Tommy once again. Jenard isn't the only one with a grudge against Tommy. Vic would be even more undeserving if Jenard didn't deserve to kill Tommy. Vic is the complete opposite of what Tommy stands for because he is a follower and a snitch. I would give Vic the biggest eye roll if he boasted that he killed Tommy Egan, even though Tommy may have played around with Vic for a bit too long. Throughout the series, he hasn't done anything to demonstrate that he is deserving of a big matchup with Tommy. Tommy Egan's death at the end of Power Book 4, Force is problematic since no one deserves it. Not Bobby, Jenard, Vic, or any other cartel member with a grudge. Tommy is one of the first members of the Power universe, thus he's not just any player. Even while he has faced some formidable opponents in Chicago, they have all seemed like challenges he would eventually overcome rather than true rivals. Tommy's death would have to be a moment that felt justified and unavoidable if the show decided that it was necessary. But has that been the result of Force? Conversely, I think they've been continuously presenting us with a Tommy who can outwit everyone and any pandemonium without succumbing to it. Since Tommy has never been stronger, I would contend that killing him would feel more like a result of the story's conclusion than of where it should go. Certain individuals are simply unbeatable in a universe based on treachery, violence, ambition, and yes, power. Rather, they are supposed to outlive and outsmart everyone who believed they had the right to put an end to them. And now? Well, nobody in Chicago is worthy of wearing the badge that claims to have killed Tommy Egan. It's amazing how Jenard has persevered throughout the 3 seasons of the show to the very end. He and Vic, Shane Harper, are, in my opinion, 2 of the most foolish crooks to ever appear on television, yet here they are at the conclusion. I might have misjudged them. Jenard has returned to using drugs, causing more chaos and alienating both his allies in the drug trade and the soldiers who support him. Since I looked like that the entire time I watched this episode, I decided to use that picture of Jenard as my featured image. Since Season 1, Lofton has played Jenard admirably. Ought to be honored for creating this character with so many facets. Jenard was a lot of things, but he wasn't stupid. He turned out to be a formidable and dangerous individual. But I don't think he has what it takes to defeat Tommy. In another scene, Kate informs Tommy that she is returning to New York in order to continue improving herself and maintain her sobriety. Tommy attempts to convince his mother to stay because his cup is overflowing, but it doesn't work. Although Mireya is shocked that her mother-in-law is going, she is also thinking a lot about what she should do next. Later, Tommy meets William Sang, Alan Oy, the incoming U.S. attorney, who gains some of Tommy's trust by shooting Bobby, Chris Tardio. After removing him, Sang concludes the murder of Stacy Marks, Miriam A. Hyman, by attributing her and her husband Bobby's dubious activities to their demise. By using Roberto Ortega, Steve Casillas, who Tommy reveals is now dead, Sang was hoping to establish a commercial relationship with Tommy. Sang must come to terms with the fact that he now works for Tommy Egan Inc. D-Mac, Lucien Cambric, Tommy's nephew, is grieving and regretting his failure to stop his father's murder. Now more than ever, he is determined to prioritize his family and is unwavering in his resolve to accompany Tommy on whatever comes next. He sends his lover Genesis, Taylor Brightman, a large sum of money so she can pursue her goals, go to Spelman, and live the life she deserves without him. Jade's attempts to persuade D-Mac to accompany her and begin a new life together infuriate him. He makes every effort to steer her away from him and toward the glory she so well deserves. Tommy is leaving a message on someone's phone somewhere else. Although no identities were disclosed, you are right if Tarek St. Patrick, Michael Rainey Jr., immediately springs to mind. Without Tarek, his other nephew, taking part in some of the fun, Force would not be able to conclude. When he does arrive, he eliminates the villains, saving Tommy's life. Tommy finds a note from Mireya telling him that she left town to be with family before that last fight takes place, giving him peace of mind that she is safe and allowing him to go about his work without worrying about her. Miguel, Manuel Eduardo Ramirez, her brother, is surprised to hear the news. Miguel is pleased to learn that Tommy believes Mireya traveled to Mexico. Nevertheless, I think Mireya may have traveled to New York with Kate, information that was not disclosed in the conclusion. Tommy and Miguel, who are now almost brothers-in-law, have developed a close relationship and an alliance between their opposing factions, which until recently only wanted each other dead. Speaking of death wishes, Vic is losing control of this new version of himself with the nice house and girlfriend, acting as though his criminal background doesn't exist. He remembers who he is, Vic F.N.G. Flynn, to the surprise of his partner, who had hoped he could put all that behind him. She is definitely not Mireya, and I doubt she could survive as a crime boss's partner in the dark underworld, so that relationship is bound to end, but hopefully her life will be spared. As more and more people escape Jenard's hold and join Tommy, Tommy informs the newcomers that Shanti, Showstopper, Adrian Walker, will be giving them commands, and anyone who objects can bounce. From the time the show initially shows her until the conclusion, Shanti has had an amazing comeback. Tommy is making sure that everyone respects the fact that she earned her position at the top. Tommy tells Shanti she reminds him of Liliana, Audrey Esparza, after she quickly bosses these guys around. Funny enough, Vic has returned to town and approaches Jenard to work with him to defeat Tommy. Yes, these two will survive to tell more absurd stories in the future. They will be putting in extra effort to assemble an army to fight Tommy and his new family in the interim. I'd love to see them attempt now that they have few remaining allies. If these two were eliminated in episode 1, it would be fantastic to see the show continue in some capacity. However, I'm getting off topic. Tommy and Tarek have a heart-to-heart on a rooftop as the show comes to a close. Tarek tells Tommy, here he goes, King of Chicago, before admitting he's going to return to the Big Apple. Tommy expresses gratitude to Tarek for his support in spite of their previous disagreements. St. Patrick, now an adult, says he didn't travel to Chicago to bring up old shit. Rather, he tries to persuade his father's closest buddy to return to New York from his recently acquired city. The thought of his child growing up on the same streets as him doesn't bother Tommy. By urging Tommy to establish his kingdom and legacy, Tarek captures his attention. Power, Legacy is the working title for the current Starz spin-off that would follow the events of Power Book 4, Force. The show is currently still under development and has not yet been given the official go-ahead to air. I've talked to everyone, I promise. However, I expect to have some fresh information to share shortly. Tommy laughs and responds, hell yeah.